The Longmen Grottos dot this hillside, a series of 2,000 niches, individual temples, to honor Buddha. The most spectacular is the Fangxian Temple. Its centerpiece, a 60-foot colossal Buddha, sitting serenely surrounded by Buddhist saints called bodhisattvas. This is where, for centuries, pilgrims came to worship their ancestors. Although Buddhism is widely practiced in modern China, today's pilgrims are tourists. Taking pictures of stone carvings well over 1,000 years old, where rain and wind and looting have taken their toll. The colossal Buddha has lost his hands, but his face remains, a Chinese face, a reminder of the emperor's face. As a patron of Buddhism, the emperor had this immense sculpture built. The Son of Heaven was to be identified with Buddha, rising above the desires of the world, a moral teacher, a professor of learning. In the Son of Heaven exhibit, we find a much smaller but very fine example of a Buddhist stone carving. This figure dates from the Tang Dynasty, around the same time as the colossal Buddha in Luoyang. An emperor commissioned this sculpture too, and by so doing earned religious merit. The more merit he gained in this life, the better his place in the afterlife. But the Son of Heaven did more than patronize Buddhism to ensure eternal repose in paradise. Inside the warehouse in the Forbidden City where the Son of Heaven treasures lie waiting, we are about to unwrap the imperial garment worn in death and beyond. A jade suit believed to have magical qualities to preserve the body. This is curator Robert Thorpe's favorite in the Son of Heaven exhibit.
This is the tunic of Princess Do Wan's jade suit. The silk thread you're seeing, the silk ribbon, is replacement. Of course, it didn't survive. But otherwise, all the jade and the gold thread you see is original. The upper part is one complete piece. The back is yet a separate piece. And then each arm sleeve is separate as well. Altogether, there are about 12 pieces that go together to make the burial suit. If you look closely, you can see each one of these little plaques has a hole drilled in the corner, and they simply tied a loop of the gold thread to knot them together.
Some people would be surprised to know that that's for a woman, a princess.
Well, the woman shared the high rank of her husband, the prince. And in the Han period, it was the emperor, his sons, and their wives who were entitled to this kind of a burial. Now, see, she's starting to take shape. Now, the framework you see here, of course, is a modern creation, simply to hold it together for display purposes.
Can we put the hands on?
Here they come, yeah. Take a look at these. Simply insert it like so. Voila.
Why is it your favorite?
I think it's the concept that knocks me out. The notion that jade has magical properties that preserve the body, and in that sense, achieve physical immortality.
But after 2,000 years, the physical body had indeed disappeared. Only a few teeth remained. And of course, the incredible jade suit. But we wouldn't even have that if not for the chance discovery and excavation of the tomb in 1968. Incredible as it may seem, the Chinese have excavated only a dozen imperial tombs of the more than 300 they know exist. An hour north of Beijing, we can visit a tomb that has been opened in a desolate valley where they say exists the perfect combination of wind and temperature. It's called Ming Valley, for this is where most of the 16 emperors of the Ming Dynasty chose to place their tombs. A beautiful 5-arched marble gate welcomes the curious along a road that was once forbidden to all but the funeral procession. Today, it's a busy route for country commerce. The Avenue of the Animals leading to the tomb is now an unceremonious, dusty thoroughfare. Just recently, iron fences have been put up around the 500-year-old stone figures to keep tourists from climbing on them. This tomb, called Ding Ling, was the first in all of China to be excavated. Work began in 1956. As this Chinese film depicts, gigantic marble doors had to be pried open by releasing a locking stone. Once inside, the workers discovered 3 huge burial chambers for the Emperor Wan Li and his 2 wives. The coffins were surrounded by precious jewelry and porcelain. Inside the coffins, the emperor's remains, covered by fine silk. All this grandeur prepared for the death of the emperor in 1620, the same year the Mayflower Pilgrims landed in the New World. Today, tourists can descend into the dark, cold tomb and see the artifacts on display in a nearby museum. Despite the treasures they found here, the Chinese are slow to excavate the other tombs in the Ming Valley and across the country. Our 2 curators explain why the Chinese are so patient.
因为现在发掘这个陵墓有一个技术，因为发掘一座陵墓，等于是破坏一座陵墓。就是如果你发掘
A tomb can only be excavated once, so of course the Chinese archaeologists are hesitant to open a lot of tombs at the moment since they don't necessarily have all the technology necessary to do a good job of that kind of work. For example, in the case of the Dingling in the Ming Valley, quite a lot of the silk that came out of that tomb was not properly preserved, and so is now in fact lost forever.
So, with the Ming tomb here in mind, the Chinese are quite willing to wait until their technology is capable of preserving all the treasures they find. Even so, the ones they have already found and preserved, the artifacts we're able to see in the Son of Heaven exhibit tell an incredible story of the Emperor of China and the glorious history of this great country. When will the tombs in this valley and the 300 tombs in this country be opened? We don't know. It may not be in our lifetimes. That means the Son of Heaven exhibit may be the finest collection of the world's greatest treasures that we'll ever have a chance to see. I'm Susan Hutchison. Good night.